We're looking at all the names that you're watching so closely, including this GAMR ETF. That's something that's on your radar. GAMR. Tell me why you're watching this one. You like it a lot?
I do. It's the oldest and the most diverse of the gaming ETFs, and by gaming it means video games, not gambling. It's got always over 80 stocks, I think 87 today. Pretty well distributed geographically, so Asia, Europe, and the US. And it touches everything. It touches hardware, it touches software makers, it touches mobile. So any investor who wants exposure to the gaming sector is able to make an investment without having to worry about performance of individual stocks and whether games are going to be hits or busts. They're participating in industry demand. We've seen massive demand since shelter in place began. Cool.
Right, absolutely. And it's not a surprise. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? When we look at some of the names within the ETF, I mean, when I think of gaming, I think of, Take-Two and Electronic Arts and Activision Blizzard. Some of the big holdings in this one, Billy, Do You, WebZen, IGG, Embracer, Com2 US. Tell me a little bit about some of these names that are a little more off the beaten path.
You know, the fund is pretty focused on staying diversified. So the smallest ownership percentage is about 0.5% of the fund, and the largest is about 3%. And what happens is that, if a normal investment, 1.5%, 2% of the fund takes off and doubles, it becomes 4% of the fund. So when you look at the top holdings, you're looking at the stocks that have performed well lately. You'll see on that list, for example, SciPlay, which was at $6 about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and is it something like $15 or $16 now? It's just taken off with shelter in place. So the top holdings are going to vary, but none tends to be more than about 4% of the fund. And the fund managers trim the positions when they get outsized and try to keep rebalancing the fund. So all those stocks on the screen right now are in the fund. It's just that Activision has probably only moved 20%, where SciPlay has gone up 150%.
Well, I also wanted to turn your attention. I know cannabis is something also on your radar, but as the person who's the thematic advisor, right? You don't make the rebalancing decisions, but you're looking for the themes that are the win, right? What's a winning themes for the back half here of 2020 or all of 2020? I mean, it's obvious what's won so far, but now what?
Well, ETFMG has a bunch of ETFs. Wedbush is working with them on 3. So we're in cloud computing, gaming, and I believe the third is cannabis. We don't cover cannabis directly right now. We have a colleague of mine who also covers Uber. So he was commenting today on that acquisition, who is the advisor for the cloud fund. I'm the advisor for the gaming fund. Look, shelter in place is here for a while. And then once it ends, and it's going to end when we have a vaccine that's widely available, you're going to see a change in how people behave. I mean, people are probably going to work from home as a greater percentage of their time going forward, just because we're all productive and we seem to thrive doing this, and our employers can save on real estate. So I think that extra hour and a half, 2 hours a day of free time is going to persist for the next 5 or 7 years. And I think people are going to consume a lot more entertainment. You're seeing Netflix at an all-time high today. You're seeing GAMR at an all-time high today. So the market understands that we are consuming more entertainment. The question is just how long does this last? I'm betting it lasts long enough for us to get double-digit growth in video game spend over the next 10 years, double-digit annual growth, which means it's going to double in 6 or 7 years. And that means these stocks should keep working, and GAMR in particular is the best way to play that.
So you seem pretty optimistic. What's driving this optimism when you're talking about double-digit growth over a decade? I mean, I guess that could be slow growth, but still, it's growth nonetheless, rather than, breaking out to the downside and testing the lows. And I mean, you sound somewhat optimistic here, Michael. Why?
There are individual stocks that will double in the next year, and probably some.
Oh yeah, like what?
Portfolio.
Like what?
I personally think Zynga's got the potential to do that. Zynga's a mobile game play. Zynga. Estimates are too low by about $500 million for this year. on a 1.8 billion consensus estimate. I think they're going to do 2.3 billion. So that's enough to make that stock go up a lot. That's on the Wedbush Best Ideas list, also in the GAMR ETF. So I like that one a lot. But again, that's if an investor is willing to make a bet on an individual stock. If they don't want to track day in and day out and look at the game rankings for every stock and see who's downloading what and who's playing what, it's easier just to make a thematic investment. And the fact is that double-digit growth for a 10-year period is what we saw in healthcare after Medicare passed in the 60s. You made the availability of healthcare, more accessible to more people. It was kind of guaranteed after 65, obviously. And as we had an aging population consuming more of healthcare, those stocks went up like crazy. That's what we're seeing with gaming. You're making gaming more accessible to a broader group of people. As people age, they keep playing games. We're getting a greater penetration, mix of female players, and it's over 50% on mobile. And it's going to get to 50% on console and PC in the next 20 years. So those are really great demographic shifts. Then we get streaming. The technology is going to allow us to play any game on any device without special equipment, without a console or a PC. You're going to be able to play games on your TV or your phone. When that happens, I think you get a 10x increase in the addressable market and at least a 2x increase in game sales over about a 5-year period. So great industry. Great demographics. I like it a lot. And GAMR is the easiest and most diverse way to play it, most diversified way to play it.